Hi, friends. For this episode, we decided to talk about friendship because I think it's foundational to everything else on this podcast because we're doing it as friends. And we really think that friendship is also something spiritual formational for all of us. So I don't even remember what's in this first episode that we recorded, but we were together when we recorded it. And we had, I think is really poignant because I do remember Yuli shares some of her personal journey with friendship, and we were just honored to listen in. So grab a cup of coffee or your drink of choice and pull up a chair. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Women on the Pause. I'm Joyce Kudalrable, and I'm here with
Jen Sue Chen
and Yuli Lee. And today we're going to talk about friendship. And friendship can come naturally in younger stages of life because you're in school, you have just peers naturally around you. But in midlife, I think friendships can change. I mean, and we live in such a transient time. I've moved a ton.
Yeah.
And you guys have too. We changed careers. We've we've experienced shifting friendships in different seasons. Yeah. And so we want to talk about how important friendship is and how to cultivate like these deep, authentic friendships because I actually feel like friendship is something that is very formational. Like it's a spiritual practice in a way. It's the people closest to you, absolutely, like speak into your life and shape, like help form and shape us. And so I'm so grateful because Yuli and Jen and I have just journeyed together for the last 2 years with starting Cora Collective together, just such close friends. And so I want to share about this topic.
Yeah. I think when you think about friendship, like we're hardwired for connection. Like it's in our DNA to be connected. And yet our stories tell us either that friendships can be scary, they can be not worth it. Some of us have been really shaped by friendship experiences from our past, even from when we were young, or in our recent days, we've felt betrayed, felt hurt. Someone has taken what we've said and then turned it against us, and it's hurt us deeply. And so we come into this space holding all of that because we've experienced that. I've experienced that, being deeply hurt by women that I thought would be my friends for life. And yet the Lord is healing and continues to heal my heart. And yet I keep jumping in for friendship because I need you. And so when I think about just meeting Joyce a couple of years ago and just beginning the journey, and then you and I literally bumped into each other at a conference and then just became fast friends. And I think what I recognized in both of them was, one, a desire to grow and a desire to hear God, to follow Him, a desire to love and live more open-heartedly. And that I saw that in them, and it was like, can I be your friend? I suddenly felt like my 8-year-old self when I'm at the playground going, please. I feel like that little girl still shows up. She shows up and she's wondering, am I worth knowing? Am I worth choosing? And I wonder if you're listening and you're wondering the same, or you think I'm just silly for saying it, but I think there's an 8-year-old or 5-year-old or however old you are, this little girl that's wondering, like, will you be my friend?
Yeah. And what I love about our season of life right now, as I've aged and have gone through these betrayals and like just a lot of deep pain from friendships, I think if we want to let those times form us, we can become more discerning, as we meet new people and new women. Because honestly, a lot of Asian American Christian women have hurt me.
Mhm.
And so, you, then I meet Joyce and Jen, and I'm like, do I really want to be open, after being hurt so many times? But I think it goes back to, what both of you were saying about being curious and also like, how do I want to age? Like, how do I want to live in this season of life as I age? And like, think about leaving a legacy for younger people, and including our own children and Jen, like your grandchild. And, I want to live as somebody with rich friendships, and like, what does that look like? I think God can surprise us. Like, you just never know who you're gonna meet. I think it's being open, having an open posture, like wondering about like, who might God bring into my life in this particular season?
Yeah.
And it's okay if it's not like your friend from 12 years ago who you're close to right now. It could be a completely new person.
Totally.
That's right. Who you grow close to in like 1 year.
Totally.
Yeah. That's like that same vibe of like having known somebody for like 20 years, but you've just known them for 1 year.
Yeah.
So you just never know. Like, God brings different kinds of friends in different seasons of life. And I don't want to be like the type of friend who like hoards. Like, if I meet somebody I love, like I want to serve them. I want to see them thrive, like both of you thriving and flourishing. But that also means like respecting your boundaries, like understanding how you are loved, and not being like possessive either over like the gifts that God gives us through friends.
One of the things that we talked about earlier, the three of us, is how we really appreciate how we cheer, like we kind of like are champions of one of us.
Yeah.
And so when there's things like opportunities that each of you have that are opening up for you, like I'm so happy to see you guys being able to step into more opportunities and more ways of using your gifts. And I think sometimes for women, there's like a competition or a jealousy that can happen, and it can sometimes be subtle, but like you can feel it, that if that happens in friendships, then it can cause like just distance. And so being for one another, I think, is a really key thing in female relationships, that you can really rejoice over the good things that are happening for the other person too. And just cheering one another on, encouraging one another. And I feel that so much from both of you. It's just such a blessing. And I think this is like a happiness study that I heard once. I don't know, I can't quote where it's from or remember, but it's like this, the friendships that you're building into now in middle age, that it's an indicator of your happiness later when you retire. I love that. In your 60s, because you're like, then when you retire, you have these deeper friendships. But if you're like just like working so hard, or you're only investing in your kids, or just kind of more insular, when you're retired, when your kids have their own lives, you don't have friendships in place, then that's like you're gonna be less happy. So like the happiness study is like start investing in really good and deep friendships, like in your middle age. And that's a key indicator of how happy you'll be in retirement.
It's so good. And I think that means letting go, perhaps, with the help of God, to some of the hurt and pain, and choosing to acknowledge that that was hard. And maybe it's working with a therapist or a spiritual director or a mentor or coach to kind of work through, like, how do I think or see things differently? Finding friends that will help you heal. But I think it's learning to tell a maybe more fuller story that includes some of the pain. Like, we're not trying to override or pretend it didn't exist. But also, I think the story we tell is the story we believe. So I think it takes acknowledging, like, what story am I telling? and asking ourselves, like, I think we talk about like getting older. We all know people that are older that tell stories with like great resentment or bitterness. And when I hear that, I think, oh, I don't want to be that kind of person, but I can see how it can happen.
Yeah.
And I think, it takes friends around who will mirror back grace and love. And it's a choice to choose to trust you guys. Because I'm just meeting, just met you 2 years ago and just trusting that you're for me. And you guys are incredible women. You women are just, oh my goodness, I think, how do I get to be friends with you? And yet there is not even anything in me that's like jealous. I'm so excited, really, about your book that you're writing, what's ahead of you, the opportunities God's giving. And Joyce, I'm so thrilled that the things that you get to show up at, the pastors that you get to speak to, and I think that I am for you, I'm behind you. I'd love to see more of that. I think when women can just, like that jealousy, we need to acknowledge like that thing can just like suck the life out of a friendship.
Yeah.
And it can steal joy and no one wins.
Yeah.
And so I think the challenge, like, what does it look like to be for one another?
Yeah.
I think part of that, I love how you said, like, how are we telling our stories? So we have these experiences, and the way that we reflect on the experience, that perspective, sometimes it can make us get stuck. And what friends do is you come alongside and you help them retell the story in a way that helps them heal. And it's like, yes, this was a painful experience.
That's right.
But also like reframing it in a way that like helps them move forward. That they can learn from that experience and they can still open up and be vulnerable and make new friendships after that. So, I mean, one of the things I feel like I've learned so much from you, Yuli, is that even when you've had hard experiences, you choose to bless rather than return hurt for hurt and forgiveness. And then you release that person and you don't hold on to bitterness. And so that's a way that you have been able to walk forward. And so you're freed and you're able to like walk forward without carrying resentment into the next relationship because you have chosen to bless and release and forgive.
I agree.
And that's like been such an example to me.
It's interesting too because I feel like some people want you to hold on to the bitterness. They're like, why are you not bitter? like why
Well, the natural response is bitterness, actually.
It is.
Way that
Absolutely.
It would be natural for you to be bitter after that.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking holistically, I'm like, we know bitterness and like holding on to things like literally makes us physically ill.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I've known friends who've gotten cancer.
Absolutely.
Because they've just like held on to something for so long.
Well, how were you able to forgive and like bless people?
Well, I think it's a journey. It's not like
overnight.
Yeah, not overnight. The friends who I felt betrayed by in like college days, like even now, I'm like 48 now, so like 20 something years later, it's still very fresh. On my mind, tender. Yeah, but I think it's like, talking to wise counsel and like having friends like you two has helped me learn like, oh, you know what? Like the people who have hurt me in the past, they don't define me.
Yeah.
They don't write my entire story.
Yeah.
Like
that's right.
It's my life, the chapters that are left to be written, like I don't know what they are, but it's exciting. And it includes a whole bunch of new friends.
That's right.
And so, and I just don't like holding on to grudges.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a personality thing or what it is. I just don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
I want to be joyful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like have good energy and good vibes, whenever I'm interacting with people. So I just decided to let them go. And like, I did make the effort to have closure with them, but some of them didn't want it. I'm like, okay, you know what, that's fine. At least in my own conscious,
You did what you
I
could.
did what I could. And we don't have to be best friends again.
That's right.
That's fine.
Last night when we were talking, and then you were telling the story, Yuli, and Joyce and I were here just listening. And we've heard you tell us before, but you're telling it again, and we're hearing it through just an even deeper love and care for you. And I just wonder what it was like for you to tell the story again, and for us to be here attuned to you. What did that do for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely healing, because I think for many, many years, I was on my own to process, because it was a group of girlfriends who decided to bond together against me. So, like, it's not like I had another group to go to process.
That was your group.
Yeah, that was my group. And
you
then
lost it.
I lost it, yeah. And so it was a very lonely experience, and it shattered my trust in just about everybody, So I didn't know who to talk to even.
Yeah.
Besides God, obviously, but I had a lot of nightmares about it, as I shared last night. But I think retelling the experience to you too, and then, having it be received with such tenderness and, wondering and affirmation, I think it like closed some holes that I didn't even know I had.
That's right.
Like in my heart. I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to have somebody believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just understand that this is like my experience, And so, I get teary thinking about it.
And we get to do that for each other.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, the gift of friendship. What does it look like to cultivate spaces, to listen, to not have to fix, to learn to hold? I think we can do that better. We can learn to do that better.
Totally.
To hold one another and to grieve with, lament over, and just be with. I think that ministry, that God with us, that God as Emmanuel is with us. And if he can be with us, then that's our journey of learning to be with one another. And I think that's a huge piece of being friends.
Totally.
Friendship, spiritual friendship, companioning together. And our longing, I think, when we think about friends in our lives that are hurting, is that how can we just encourage each other? Yeah, there's so much pain. And we have hurt. I know that I have not always been the best friend that I want to be. Yet I want to keep growing. And want to keep learning.
And sometimes it's just hearing, like, being heard. It's not like we need advice or we need, like, it to be fixed. But the telling of the story of the experience and having it received with, like, you're really heard. And you really feel, for one anher. That, like, we don't have to feel like we have to have the right answers or the right words to say in response, but it is just like being with. And witnessing is in itself healing.
Totally agree. And just, I think it's important to say, like, you don't need 1,000 friends.
No.
To feel satisfaction or to flourish.
Absolutely.
I think as I've aged, I'm like, you know what? I just need like one person really.
Yeah.
I have my best friend and my spouse, Dave.
Yeah.
But also like beyond Dave, just like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Who really understand. Yeah, makes the world of a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then choosing to trust.
Yeah.
I think I moved back to the Pacific Northwest, and I thought, oh, how will I find friends again? Moved back after many years in Asia, and thought, oh, are my years over in many ways? I feel sad to say, but I think I was like, oh no, how am I going to get to know people again? I don't do play dates.
Right.
I don't have kids at home.
Yes.
How will you know me without knowing, like, you might get to meet my husband, but you won't know me as a mom and with my kids. Like, that has been a huge piece of my identity. And so I'm showing up at church, like, by myself, with my spouse. And I think
I'm so much more than this. And yet meeting you both and that you being curious about my life has really been a gift to me. And it's shown me that, no matter that in my 50s, I can find new friends. Yeah. And it's not that I let go of the old ones, but it's like I'm not living in the same proximity or even just the overlap of life is not the same as it used to be. And I grieve that. And I love the people that have been part of my life. But in this season, God has brought you both in, and we get to serve together at Cora and dream together for a future for especially Asian American Christian women and leaders.
Yeah. And I do feel like I have lots of friends in different places, and I have friends that I connect with because we have a common, like our kids are in a common stage of life, and we bond over parenting. I have friends who understand my life in ministry and what that's like. I have Asian American friends who get that piece of it. And those are all good. I'm like grateful for all of the different kinds of friends I have. But I also treasure friends who like really get me and know me. And so those are going to be more rare.
Yes.
There's a few, but the ones that really understand and get you. And so I really treasure those. But it's not to say I don't appreciate all of the other friends.
Absolutely.
And the blessing those are.
Totally.
And I think I don't know if you feel this way, you guys, but I feel like as Asian American Christian women, and sometimes God gives us certain roles of leadership. Like I feel like and maybe for women who are in roles of leadership, it can get lonelier.
Yeah,
because there's just not as many of you in those spaces, and so we have to take more initiative to find friends. But I do feel like God hears our prayers. He answers those prayers. And then I'm so grateful because I'm like, yes, I do have women who get me and see me and know me.
And our hope for Women on the Pause is that we create a community of Asian American Christian women and female leaders who are, just growing together. We're just finding language for this season of life and learning to pause and slow down. We run at such a fast pace. And I think just even sitting this weekend together and just reflecting on, Josie asked us a couple of really good questions on our hike this morning. Just what were we grateful for? And asked us what were we being stretched? What was stretching us in this season? And then he asked us, what question are we asking God? And that was such a sweet pause to walk and listen to our own hearts, listen to God, and listen to each other. And what a gift. What a gift that is to slow down. We invite you, listeners, to do the same. To slow down. Receive that invitation. Look around. Who's God bringing into your life? That new friend or even that old friend.
Just be curious.
Pause to make space for friendships, cultivating friendships. Whether it's someone God has placed and it's overlapping in your life, and you're like, oh, I want to get to know that person a little bit deeper. Initiate with that person. Or if it's an old friend, you just want to go deeper and journey together more. Make space for that in our busy lives. Ask one another questions and laugh a lot together.
Yes, laugh a lot together.
It's the best. It also gives you good abs.
That is right. For abs this weekend.
Thanks for joining us, you all, with Women on the Pause.